Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you how I made these little backgrounds for these cards. A bit of an experiment. I was playing around with some white embossing powder onto a piece of vellum. I like vellum. You can get some fabulous effects. But the problem with vellum is how you attach it to a card, particularly for something that's kind of a background, because any adhesive that you use will show through. Some less than others, I have to say, but they will show through. So I very often like to put them behind something so that whatever is adhering it to the card base can't be seen. So there's a couple of cards here. And for it, I used this large background stamp from Simon Says Stamp. It's a beautiful, beautiful stamp, very detailed, intricate veining on the leaves. It is really lovely. You can see a bit of twinkle there as well. Don't know what that's come from. There we go. And these are great. This is Lawn Fawn chamois. They're really great for cleaning stamps off. Anyway, so there's my stamp, and I'm going to just ink it with the normal way, ink it with Versamark, quick bit of anti-static on the vellum, ink it with Versamark, and then emboss with the Opaque bright white embossing powder. I don't need to ink the whole stamp because the piece of vellum I've cut is a bit narrow. That's the side I use my embossing body on, so that is the side I will put down onto the stamp. Now, to get it a clear impression all over, I'm just going to cover it with a bit of copy paper and use my, I don't know what they call those things that you can actually buy to use with a stamping platform. I don't know what I really don't know what they are, but this is an alabaster tea light holder, and I just put a piece of felt on the bottom and it works brilliantly. It's also very handy for throwing little odds and odds and ends that I find on my table. There we go. Right, so there I have. That's good. I've got a good impression. Now I'm going to put on some embossing powder, liberal sprinkling, there we go. I think that's pretty well covered. I'll just pop the rest back into the pot. There we are. Put on the lid before I knock it for 6. And now I'm going to heat this up. I'm just going to put my heat gun on just for a minute away from the paper, just because if it's warmer, it doesn't warp as much when you first do it. Look like that's got it. Right, so there's a lovely, lovely impression. You can see that. Beautiful. Simon Says Stamp. Now what I'm going to do is this. Here I've got this is a Stampin' Up old ink pad. Lucky Limeade this is. I'm just going to ink up the stamp again. with Lucky Limeade. I'm not going to bother cleaning it off. There's not much Versamark left on this bit anyway. Now, I've got to make sure that normally by the time you've done that, this will be totally dry. If it's still warm and you touch it, you can smudge heat embossing. So if you're going to do a secondary action, just make sure that it is cooled down and as properly set. Now I'm going to put this down and I'm going to stamp on the back of the vellum. Pop it on, cover it with a bit of scrap. This is just copy paper, a failed sewing pattern. I don't know what I did wrong. Printed the wrong size, printed too many or something, I don't know. But it just gets used for scrap in due course. Right. And there I have that on the back. Now, if I put that against a piece of white, you can see the effect of the secondary stamping on the back. Now, isn't that pretty? I think that is, I think it's lovely. The one I did before on the card, I used chocolate chip, and it's a really dark colour. I chose it specifically because it's a dark colour, but I thought I'd use a green this time and make it a little bit paler, a bit more interesting. But I think that's so pretty. So now I can use bits of this behind an aperture, whatever. This one is a triple square from Sizzix. It's a Sizzix. I don't know what it came from. It's got another rectangle that those three fit into. Or you can just use nesting dies of squares, circles, anything you like. But if you put it behind, your adhesive doesn't show. So there we go. An interesting background using vellum. So have a go and let me know how you get on. Thanks very much for watching.